Imagine walking into a coffee shop thinking you're about to order a latte, but instead, you walk out as a meme. That's exactly what happened to Karoline Leavitt, and the way it all went down? Brutal. It was one of those moody Washington, D.C. mornings, the kind where the clouds hang low like they're eavesdropping on every political conversation in town. Traffic was crawling, lattes were brewing, and somewhere in the middle of it all, Karoline Leavitt was trying to have a normal day. Now, normal is a relative term when you're a political firebrand known for sparking debates and trending hashtags just by opening your mouth. But that morning, she wasn't in a studio or on a stage. She wasn't facing off with reporters or rallying a crowd. She just wanted a damn coffee. That's it. A peaceful moment. No cameras, no confrontation. Bad news for her, this was not that day. The spot she chose was Grind Theory, a hip little corner cafe tucked near a university campus. It wasn't one of those sterile corporate chains either, this place had vibes. Art on the walls. Lo-fi music playing. Baristas with tattoos, dyed hair, and more political opinions than the Sunday news shows. And behind the counter? Jessie. 21. Majoring in political science. Woke up angry at the system and fueled by triple shots of espresso. She didn't just make coffee, she judged your whole soul while she did it. And when she saw Karoline Leavitt walk in wearing oversized sunglasses and that "don't talk to me" energy, her eyebrow did that little twitch like, oh, it's on. Karoline didn't notice at first. She kept it low-key. No entourage. No press. Just heels clicking against concrete floors and eyes scanning the chalkboard menu like a regular. But of course, she wasn't regular. Everyone in that shop knew who she was, the TikTok crowd had posted her soundbites 1,000 times. The girl who talked about woke mobs like they were hiding under every college dorm bed. Karoline stepped up to the counter. Jessie locked eyes with her, and boom, the tension hit the room like static before a storm. "Can I get an iced oat milk latte?" Karoline said, cool as ever. Name's Karoline. Jessie didn't flinch. Didn't blink. Just smiled that slow, deliberate smile. The kind that says, I'm about to ruin your day, but I'm gonna look cute doing it. She reached for a cup. Picked up a Sharpie. But instead of writing Karoline, she wrote something else, something way more iconic. She didn't say a word. Just turned away and started making the drink like nothing was wrong. Meanwhile, Karoline waited. She scrolled her phone. Probably checking emails or crafting the next tweet about protecting free speech. But the real story? It was brewing right behind the counter, and it wasn't the coffee. Let's be honest, Karoline thought she was blending in. She thought she was just another early morning customer in DC, invisible in a sea of overworked millennials. But she forgot one thing Gen Z doesn't miss. They've got receipts, rage, and Wi-Fi. And Jessie? She had all three. You could feel the air start to shift. People were whispering. A student by the window nudged his friend. A girl near the back started quietly recording. Something was coming, and everyone could feel it. Karoline had no idea that her name wasn't on that cup. She had no idea that the word corporate puppet was about to define her entire week. And she definitely had no idea that in less than 5 minutes, she'd be the main character of the internet. Yeah. She just came for coffee. But the coffee shop had other plans. The iced oat milk latte was almost ready. The machine hissed like a warning sign, frothing the milk while the smell of espresso drifted through the cafe. Jessie worked calmly, almost too calmly. Like she was a chef in the final seconds of plating a dish on a cooking show, only this dish was about to embarrass someone on a national scale. The other baristas caught on to what Jessie was doing, too. One of them raised their eyebrows like, yo, you really gonna do it? Jessie gave the slightest nod. Oh, she was absolutely going to do it. No hesitation. No second thoughts. This wasn't just about coffee anymore. This was a statement. Meanwhile, Karoline was still scrolling on her phone, completely oblivious. Probably responding to some tweet from a hater, maybe lining up her next Fox appearance, or texting some comms director about how out of touch young voters were. The irony? The young voters were about to show her exactly how in touch they could be, starting with one Sharpie-wielding, no-nonsense barista. The cup sat on the counter now, finished, dripping slightly with condensation. Jessie held it gently, like she was holding the fate of the internet between her fingers. And in a way, she was. And then, the moment hit. Jessie raised the cup high over her head, letting the condensation roll down her wrist like she was holding up a trophy. No casual call-out. No polite customer service tone. This was the announcement of war, iced OAT milk latte. For corporate puppet. Silence. Pure, sharp, cutting silence. The kind that happens right after someone drops a glass at a fancy dinner party. For one solid second, it was like the cafe itself forgot how to breathe. Then a snicker. Then two. And before Karoline could even look up, someone near the door burst out laughing. Phones lifted like a coordinated attack. Lenses aimed. Snapchat, TikTok, Insta stories, the whole modern firing squad. Karoline blinked, confused. Corporate puppet? That wasn't her name. That couldn't be her drink. Right? Wrong. The Sharpie letters stared back at her from the side of the cup, bold, all caps, aggressive, like the words themselves were yelling at her. Corporate puppet. It wasn't just disrespect. It was surgical disrespect. Precise. Measured. Custom-tailored for maximum emotional damage. Jessie didn't just call her out, she gave her a whole new nickname. Karoline's first instinct was to act like it didn't bother her. Politicians are trained for this. Flash the smile. Play it cool. Pretend you didn't just get absolutely humiliated in front of a crowd of TikTok-hungry caffeine addicts. But the thing about fake smiles? People can smell them. And in that cafe, everyone smelled blood in the water. Someone in the back whispered, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Damn, she really said corporate puppet," but it was over. The whole room cracked like someone had just told the funniest inside joke of the century. Giggles rolled like a wave from the espresso machine to the front door. Someone dropped their phone. Another guy near the window nearly choked on his scone. Karoline? Frozen. Latte halfway in hand. Lip twitching like she wanted to speak, but the sentence couldn't escape her throat. And then, the kill shot. Jessie leaned casually over the counter, resting one elbow like this was the easiest shift of her life, and delivered the quote that would break the internet. Didn't realize selling out came with oat milk these days. Bam. That was it. The moment. Viral history being written before everyone's eyes. Phones buzzed with notifications. TikTok comments were already flying in, "NAH this barista's goat loudly crying face corporate puppet?" Skull Starbucks could never. Karoline had walked in thinking she was just going to sip her coffee quietly and head off to her next political meeting. Instead, she got served something way colder, public humiliation on ice. Even people who didn't know who Karoline was were already reposting the clip. Political junkies. College students. Meme pages. It was spreading faster than anyone could have predicted. And the wildest part? Jessie didn't even flinch. She didn't gloat, didn't high-five her co-workers. She just went right back to steaming milk for the next order like another day, another drag. Karoline, meanwhile, took that long, slow walk toward the door with corporate puppet in hand. The world's coldest iced latte, dripping with condensation and shame. No debate stage. No prepared talking points. No save from producers cutting to commercial. Just her, that Sharpie, and the brutal realization, Gen Z doesn't just tweet. They serve lattes with consequences. And the crowd? The crowd was loving every second of it. For a second, just 1 second, Karoline tried to hold it together. You know that politician move where they smile just a little too wide, eyes squinting slightly, pretending they're above it all? Yeah. She went for that. But the problem? That fake smile was like cheap duct tape holding together a car already on fire. And this cafe? It was the fire department, and nobody brought water, just more gasoline. She grabbed the cup carefully, like she thought maybe if she just acted normal, this whole situation would go away. Wishful thinking. The universe didn't get that memo. Phones were still pointed at her like weapons. People were quietly recording, but not too quiet. The glow of phone screens reflected off people's glasses like glowing eyes in a horror movie. That awkward moment dragged out like slow motion. Pick up the cup. Smile. Walk away. Easy, right? Except the Sharpie ink on the cup might as well have been neon spray paint, corporate puppet screaming in black ink, dripping condensation like sweat on a bad first date. And then, the real damage started. Someone near the counter muttered just loud enough for it to catch, "Bro. Corporate puppet, that's wild." It was like throwing a spark into a pile of dry leaves. Laughter, first quiet, then rolling. One guy near the sugar stand just lost it, straight up wheezing. Another girl had to slap her hand over her mouth to keep from spitting out her cold brew. Even the baristas in the back, trying so hard to look professional, were giving each other the look that we're gonna be on TikTok by dinner look. Phones. Everywhere. TikTok. Instagram Live. One person in the corner was already typing the caption, "When the baristas got more guts than Congress." Karoline's smile faltered just a little at the corners. That confidence she had behind podiums? Gone. This wasn't cable news with a commercial break to save her. This was a viral ambush in broad daylight, executed by a 21-year-old with green hair and zero fear of repercussions. And then it got worse. Some college kid from the back shouted, "Yo Karoline, you want whipped cream with that sellout?" The entire cafe erupted. Now it wasn't just giggles. It was open laughter. Even people who didn't fully know who Karoline was could tell exactly what was happening just from the vibe alone. Fancy-looking woman in heels just got absolutely flamed by a Gen Z barista. Public embarrassment? Check. Audience participation? Check. Viral potential? Double check. And Jessie? Jessie was cool as ice. Leaned casually against the espresso machine like she did this every day, like embarrassing politicians was just part of the training manual. One of her co-workers gave her a subtle fist bump behind the grinder. Legends recognize legends. Karoline was trapped. Going forward would mean ignoring it, pretending it was fine, letting everyone think she couldn't clap back. Going backward? That would mean confrontation, risking becoming a full-blown meme by the end of the afternoon. But it didn't matter anymore. Didn't realize selling out came with oat milk these days. That line echoed around the room. It wasn't just a roast, it was surgical. Precise. Jessie had dissected Karoline's whole vibe in 8 words. Someone was already turning that audio into a TikTok sound. Another person was whispering, "Bro, clip that. Clip it." The energy in the cafe had fully shifted. This wasn't coffee shop background noise anymore, it was arena energy. You could almost hear the sports announcers in your head, and here comes Jessie the barista with the fatal combo, left hook, right jab, oat milk finisher. And then came the moment that sealed it. Jessie, without even blinking, reached for the next order. Another latte. Another Sharpie. Like none of this was unusual for her. Like she'd done it before and would happily do it again. Meanwhile, Karoline, the once confident conservative rising star, was left standing there with condensation dripping down her fingers, holding a cup that might as well have been labeled loser of the week. Outside, people passing by were already checking their phones. The algorithm was doing its job. The moment had gone from local cafe to global comedy in seconds. Someone near the front door muttered, "Bro, this is gonna be on CNN by dinner." Another chimed in, "Fox is gonna say it's fake, watch." Didn't matter what spin came next. In that moment, Karoline Leavitt wasn't a rising star anymore. She was just the main character of yet another day where Gen Z didn't miss. The viral moment was already halfway across the internet before Karoline could even blink. Notifications were popping off like fireworks. Someone near the sugar station literally said, "Bro, I'm clipping this right now," while fumbling with their phone like it was a grenade about to go off. And Karoline? Oh, she wasn't going out like that. Not Karoline Leavitt. This woman had stared down reporters. She had battled liberal hosts on live TV without flinching. She wasn't about to be taken out by a barista with chunky Doc Martens and 4 nose rings. Not today. Not in this random overpriced coffee shop with reclaimed wood furniture. She tightened her grip on the plastic cup, condensation dripping down her perfectly manicured fingers like sweat in a championship boxing match. Her jaw locked like someone winding up a haymaker. "Excuse me," she said, sharp. Controlled. Politician voice fully activated. The laughter didn't stop, but it did get quieter. Everyone loves a good roast, but what they love more is the second round. The clapback. This was about to turn from a coffee order into debate club, Gen Z edition. Jessie didn't even flinch. She met Karoline's gaze like she'd been training her whole life for this one exact moment, like her entire liberal arts degree was leading up to this face-off. "You heard me," Jessie said coolly, wiping her hands on a towel. "We serve drinks to everyone. Even sellouts." Boom. The whole cafe flinched like someone just threw a punch on a high school basketball court. Now it was on. Karoline straightened up, flipping her hair like she was preparing for a Senate hearing. "Wow," she said, "that fake laugh politicians use when they're about to get mean. It's cute that you think you're making some kind of point here. Do you even know who I am? Bad move." As soon as those words left her lips, the crowd let out one of those collective "oh" sounds. You know the one. The sound that means she said the wrong thing to the wrong person, at the wrong time. Jessie leaned on the counter like she had all day to drag this woman. "Yeah," she said, with that bored Gen Z delivery that hits like a slap. "You're the I hate cancel culture but cry when people cancel me girl. Absolute death." One of the students near the door straight up fell out of his chair laughing. Karoline's cheeks flushed, and not in that elegant, PR photoshoot kind of way. This was rage blush. She was furious. Not because Jessie was wrong, but because Jessie was dead right. And then, right on cue. The worst possible thing that could happen to any politician caught lacking in public, the TikTok audio started. Yep. Someone in the back had pulled up the infamous edit of Karoline's old Fox interview where she called college students lazy with trap beats behind it. It echoed softly through the cafe like background music at a gladiator arena. "We are raising a generation of lazy, entitled crybabies." Boom, 808 drop. Karoline could hear it. Her own words. On loop. Backed by memes. Remixed. Weaponized against her. She was being memed in real time. And the people recording? Oh, they were working angles. Overhead shots. Low angles for drama. One girl in the corner had the shaky zoom going like she was filming a paranormal encounter. Karoline's political instincts kicked in. Maybe she could spin this. Use it later. Victim card. I was harassed by radical leftists at a coffee shop. You could see the gears turning behind her eyes, like a politician running damage control mid-embarrassment. But Jessie wasn't done yet. She picked up the Sharpie again, clicked it like a mic check, and reached for another cup. This time, she wrote 2 words, public servant. Another pause. Another sip of disrespect served ice cold. Here, Jessie said, sliding the cup forward. This one's on the house. Thought you might want to remember what that means. Flawless execution. No raised voice. No screaming. Just pure, precision-level Gen Z savagery. And Karoline? She stood there, lips parted, blinking like someone had just unplugged her programming. This wasn't a debate stage anymore. It was a street fight, and she'd brought debate team energy to a meme war. Even outside, people were stopping to look through the window. The cafe had turned into a spectacle. This wasn't just coffee anymore, this was performance art. Karoline's PR brain was firing on all cylinders, but it didn't matter. In that cafe, in that moment, she wasn't a political commentator. She was just the lady who got roasted at Grind Theory. By the time Karoline stumbled out of that coffee shop, she didn't even realize she was already trending. Not about to trend. Already trending. Outside, cars passed by, completely unaware that political humiliation had just been brewed fresh inside Grind Theory, extra hot, no room for dignity. The cafe itself had become ground zero for internet chaos. TikToks were already labeled with hashtags like hashtag corporate puppet, hashtag barista versus politician, and the brutal hashtag oat milkgate. Inside, Jessie calmly wiped down the counter with that signature barista boredom, but now she was basically the CEO of the revolution. "Order up," she said softly, sliding another drink forward for a random college kid, as if she hadn't just become the face of Gen Z's caffeine-fueled rebellion. Karoline, meanwhile, power-walked down the sidewalk like someone late for a flight, except she wasn't headed for the airport, she was headed straight for the For You page of every politically active TikTok account on the app. The internet? Already on it. Clips were getting spliced, meme-feed, soundtracked, slowed down with dramatic reverb. Someone threw the corporate puppet announcement over the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme. Someone else edited Jessie's line with WWE intros. Didn't realize selling out came with 080 milk these days, glass breaking, Stone Cold Steve Austin's theme blares. It was brutal. Ruthless. Peak Gen Z savagery. Back in the cafe, one of the students had pulled out his laptop, typing at full speed. Political meme accounts on Twitter/X were about to eat. Tweets like, "Karoline Leavitt really thought she was gonna get coffee and instead got cooked like a rotisserie chicken." Incredible scenes. Even brands were joining in. Some vegan milk brand reposted the video with, "Corporate puppet? Nah, we're here for oat milk honesty." Karoline's phone started buzzing in her bag. Notifications. Texts from campaign managers, PR people, probably half the conservative blogosphere, already cooking up hot takes like, "Karoline Leavitt attacked by woke barista mob, full video." Fox News was gonna spin this thing like a carnival ride before dinner. War on conservatives, even coffee shops are radicalized now. But here's the thing. No amount of spin was gonna stop what was already happening, the memification process had begun. The more the right-wing media tried to defend her, the funnier the memes got. Jessie, the barista, wasn't just a person anymore. She was becoming a symbol. Profile pictures started changing. TikTok users were stitching her moment with old Vine clips like, "He needs some milk." Someone even edited Karoline's face onto that classic "This You?" meme format with corporate puppet underneath. And the wildest part? Jessie didn't even flinch. No follow-up TikToks. No interviews. No "guys, go follow me, thirst traps." Nothing. She just kept working shifts like this wasn't a viral supernova in progress. That made it even worse for Karoline. Silence hits harder than rebuttals sometimes. Jessie's complete refusal to acknowledge the circus just poured jet fuel on the whole thing. The internet loves a humble assassin. Meanwhile, Karoline's team was scrambling behind the scenes. Damage control. Maybe they could turn this into a small business harassment story. Maybe they could cry foul about woke cancel culture. But deep down, they all knew the truth, this wasn't political. This was personal. And it was hilarious. Outside, one college kid jogging by looked at Karoline and recognized her immediately. He smirked and just said, "Yo, corporate puppet latte, right?" Karoline didn't even respond. She just lowered her sunglasses like someone trying to hide in plain sight. The latte? Still in her hand. Condensation dripping, Sharpie bold, betrayal cold. By that night, hashtag corporate puppet was on the trending page worldwide. Jesse's offhand comment was now getting quoted by late-night talk shows. Meme pages with millions of followers were captioning random photos of CEOs with it. Even unrelated drama accounts were reposting it just for clout. And Karoline? She was exactly where no political commentator wants to be, the main character on the internet. That's the one rule of surviving online: never be the main character. If you are, apologize immediately or go completely silent. Karoline tried the second option. Silent. Pretending it didn't happen. But it was too late. The TikToks had layers now. Meta reactions. Reaction videos to the reactions. Conspiracy threads on Reddit like "the barista is part of Antifa" and another thread entirely of baristas sharing stories of humiliating politicians. A whole underground movement started because of 1 cup of oat milk. And Jesse? Jesse just kept pouring coffee. 1 latte at a time. The quiet hero Gen Z didn't know they needed. As for Karoline? All she walked out with that day was a bitter latte and a brand new title, Corporate Puppet, served with extra whipped humiliation. If that left you speechless too, hit that subscribe button and join the squad. More brutal takedowns, more viral drama, coming your way. Stay tuned.